Live on the air, the controversial former WWE diva Debra Marshall. Stay tuned.
Oh, man. Well, I got to tell you guys, we're talking a little bit about TNA right now, and joining us is somebody who's trying to get involved in TNA and been sitting on some MySpace messages. Joining us on the line right now is our special guest for the week, along with Bret the Hitman Hart, is none other than Debra Marshall. Debra, are you with us?
Yes, I'm great. Well, you can also call me Debra McMichael. I have like Debra Marshall, Debra McMichael. I think most of my friends know me as Debra McMichael.
That's probably the most common name that you're known as, but
I got told the lieutenant commissioner?
Yes, I was.
Yeah, can we call you that? Good. That was one of my favorite roles that you had, by the way.
Absolutely.
Let me introduce you to the crew. My name is James, and we have Patrick Kelly, who you just spoke with.
Hi,
hello.
Patrick.
And Nick Mello's on the line with us as well. Nick is our third co-host. Nick.
Hi, Nick.
Hi.
All right, and we are live on the air right now, and basically we were hearing a little bit about, on the MySpace page, about you wanting to reunite with your good friend Jeff Jarrett on camera. Is there, what's going on with that, and how can fans help that out?
Well, you know, one thing I know about being in the business, and especially being married to Stone Cold Steve Austin, and being from the WCW days and the WWF, the WWE days, I know one thing. I know definitely how to involve the fans. And I think nowadays the business is definitely missing the fan interaction. Because I know myself, when I go to a concert and say the singer's looking at me or interacting with me, or when they bring like anybody that's in concert and they bring a fan up on stage to announce the band or whatever, that is like the coolest thing. And I think the fans in wrestling, we have the most loyal fans, and I think they would love to get involved with this, and they should be good. I would definitely put on a good show, as you guys well know from the past.
Absolutely, and we can envision that happening because Jarrett is always involved in various storylines and is always looking for allies. So I could see how they bring in. But in the ideal world, how would you be brought into the TNA roster?
You know what? Another thing, it's like you just never know what the writers are going to write, and since that's not my specialty, but I do know one thing I'm good at, and that's definitely I'm really good in a power role. As I was the lieutenant commissioner, and I'm really good in the business sense. And I think definitely now they need a mature woman, a woman that can be really sassy, and I'm quick-witted, and I definitely know how to cause a little trouble and chaos.
We've seen that over.
And I can talk and I can back it up, and that's one thing I know how to do.
Absolutely. I would tend to agree with that. Now, I wanted to ask you about this. Your talking a few years ago seemed to earn you some kind of a little bit of ill will from some of the more hardcore wrestling fans out there. And I want to tell you first off the bat that on this show we actually defended you. We were unfortunately very much in the minority on that, at least on the internet anyway. But we actually took your case and said, look, this person's lived through something similar. Maybe she has a right to tell her story. But what do you think about, even when you sent out the press release that you were available for bookings, one of the biggest websites out there, PW Insider, threw in some snide comments along with the press release. What do you think of how angry some of the wrestling fans can be towards you based on what happened a few years ago?
Again, you got to think about I was married to Stone Cold Steve Austin, the top guy in wrestling. And people don't really want to hear that he did domestic abuse, but he was sentenced. He had probation, a year, and anger management and all that, which, again, when you're in this business, I can't help what happened in my personal life, and I chose to do this I had to. It was the third time he hit me, and unfortunately, when you're married to someone so famous, and I'm famous, it's just your dirty laundry is out there for everyone to read, and unfortunately, he has a huge fan base, which makes sense. The fans don't really want to hear what happened, but I have to defend what happened to me, and I will stand always by it. And I sort of looked at it like, well, I'm going to turn a bad thing into a good thing. And it's been years now, and I've worked in Denver probably over a year with Safe House, and I train with them, and I helped out speaking to schools, and I understand domestic abuse and the way it works. And again, I can understand the fans because they love Steve Austin. And again, that's a separate entity. My personal life with Steve was so different than the wrestling, and I don't take anything away from Steve as an entertainer and a wrestler. He's wonderful. But unfortunately, my personal life is just sent out there for everyone to see, which is quite embarrassing, as well as any of us would know. Even the people that aren't famous, there's going to be times when, things just go crazy, and if your dirty laundry was sent on all over the news and the internet, it's so embarrassing.
Mm.
But again, I stand by. That's pretty much in the past now, and that's what happened, and I've moved on from that, and I've learned from it, and I try to train other people in that field.
Well,
try to educate them.
When I said a few years ago, I actually was more referring to the Chris Benoit when you were on Fox News, and that a lot of people who actually spoke out, like I know you spoke out, Mark Merrow was one who spoke out. A lot of you guys were immediately, oh, they're against wrestling. They're against wrestling. We're going to get them. They're against wrestling. And it was just kind of like, dude, they have personal experience.
No, it wasn't that at all. What my goal was, I love all these guys, and I have worked with these guys since 1995. And we're a family, and it's very hurtful to me to see things happen to people that I love. And if anything, and I have this guilt, which bothers me to this day, to where I felt like if I had spoke out from happening to me years ago, then maybe Nancy could have felt something in her to reach out to me or to reach out, because again, I have this guilt feeling about that, and I had to follow my passion. I'm very passionate about it, and I'm very outspoken, as you guys know, and I don't back down.
Well, I'm actually glad to see that, and there was a lot of people who would rather have seen you have backed down. Did you ever encounter any wrestlers or anybody under that who maybe weren't as keen on what you were saying? I know you did Fox News with Lanny Poffo, and he said he supported you, and a lot of guys said they supported you, but did you run into anybody who said they didn't really back you up on what you were saying?
No, and I've learned, too, just as celebrities and movie stars know, you don't read the Internet because there's going to be people that love you and the people that hate you. I'm sure even with your business, you got the fans that love you and the fans that hate you, and that just comes with the territory.
I would say it's probably half and half.
Believe, I stand by I am a tough female. I am headstrong, and I'm passionate, and I felt the need to do that if I could have touched one person and saved somebody. And I love all these people in wrestling. They're my family, and all the wrestling guys that know me, they know I love all these guys. All the guys speak highly of me.
I would tend to agree with that, and a lot of them do speak highly of you when we've done the interviews over the years. One of the things I wanted to ask you about was WrestleMania coming up just in less than a week from now, just a few days from now. Now, they're doing the big 25 Diva Battle Royal. I know you've said you're not doing it. Were you ever contacted to do it, and would you have done it if they would have contacted you?
I don't know. I hadn't, I wasn't contacted. I was not contacted by them, but, you never say never in this business.
That's a good point. Now, how did you end up involved in wrestling in the first place? Because I remember you came into WCW, and they kind of, I'll talk about your use of WCW in a minute, but how did you get involved in the first place? Was it just because of Steve? McMichael.
I have to say Steve 1 and Steve 2. Is that not Steve? I swear to goodness, I have dated more Steves. I bet 10. It's the funniest thing. Steve just tends to be the name.
When I said Steve, the first thing I thought was, maybe I should have just said Mongo. Maybe Mongo would make it easier.
Well, like I said, I talk to my friends. I go Steve 1, Steve 2, because I get confused.
There you go. And the other Steves that came before him, I guess are they negative numbers, or how does that work out?
But the Steves after?
It was after. Okay.
I never dated a Steve before Steve 1, but I dated probably 5 other Steves after that.
Oh, boy, okay. There you go.
No, they were nice. You know how you date and things just don't work out, one of those kind of things.
Yeah, it's always weird because, if you ever had anybody with, a family member by the same name, it's like, oh, that's a little creepy. But, okay, I can see how that would be, yeah. But how did you end up in WCW? Was it because of Mongo, I'll call him, Steve 1?
Well, yeah, I was married to Steve McMichael for 13 years, and so my life was an NFL life for 13 years, and he played 15 years with the NFL, and I actually studied acting at that time, but I also was in charge of, I would always be in charge of Steve's autograph things and endorsements and handle that for him. And I knew a friend that was going to go talk to the head of Turner Sports on a business deal. So I put together a video and a promo with music, and I gave it to him, and they showed it to Eric Bischoff, and he was like, boom, I want to hire Steve. You know, that was right after Steve retired. But if you remember, Steve McMichael also did the Lawrence Taylor All-Pro thing back in the day with Reggie White.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And Steve just loved wrestling. So they hired him as a commentator, and then Steve wanted them to bring me in, just to travel with him as his wife. So they agreed on that. And then, again, I'm quite the ham and quite the entertainer, and I was like, oh, man, I want to get out there. And so I taught Eric Bischoff into just letting me work for free. I said, Eric, please, I know I don't have a history in wrestling, but I'm a good actor. I said, please, just bring me in there, and I can show you what I can do. I can work for free for a few months until I guarantee I can win the fans over, good or bad. So he said, I tell you what, Deb, I want you to go in as Queen Debra, and I want you to be this obnoxious beauty queen, Southern belle, full of herself. And that's all I needed to hear. So then I clicked into that, and I would write my own lines. Mm-hmm. And that's how it started. And then a few months after that, I was such a heel. Oh, my gosh, I was so hated. It was too funny. And then he offered me a contract.
There you go. That works. And also, sorry, go ahead.
And that's, I've had a bizarre... I've had a bizarre, things just sort of, I don't know, I don't ever do things a normal way.
Pat, did you want to take the next question?
Sure, absolutely. Well, after your run in WCW, wound up in the WWF, paired up with Jeff Jarrett, what was the difference between WCW and WWF? Did you notice any huge difference between the way both companies were run?
I would say WCW was a little bit more relaxed and not as, again, back in the day, being married to Steve McMichael, we were really good friends with Eric, and we were more having fun. It was just da-da-da-da-da. And I noticed when I ended up going over to WWF, that was serious business. I'm single. I'm working over there. I got to make a living for myself. And all I studied was, okay, I'm going to do the best job I can do. And when I first met Vince, I'd met him before when I was married to Steve McMichael, and when I met him again and I was working for him, I was scared of him. He's this really, like a principal in a school. I was like, oh, my gosh. And every time I would talk to him, I'd turn red.
Huh.
It was very intimidating. He would scare me.
So
he is the owner, the boss, the owner.
Right. Right.
Did that make it hard for you to, fight him if you didn't want to do something storyline-wise?
No, I never. I knew my limitations on anything sexual that I didn't want to do, but I knew my character was very, very sexy, and I just knew my job. But they never really, they actually were always really, really good to me, and I'm really easy to work with. Because I want to create a good product. The way I look at it, this is a team effort, and the more money we all can pull in, the more money we make.
Absolutely.
The fans can be happy. We can be happy. Because this is the kind of business, you're in it, you're out of it. You're in it, you're out of it. And I'm an entertainer. I want to put on the best product I can put on. And I guess maybe Steve McMichael being all-pro and winning the Super Bowl, maybe me being so young when I married, and maybe that put it in my head is, you got to be the best. If you're going to do something, be the best and give it over 100%. Don't just half do it.
Exactly. Absolutely. We talked a lot about that in recent interviews about people saying that they just take that one step further and that's how they made it. So
yeah, you got to. And you got to, another thing, too, I never go in the front door, I go in the back door.
Okay.
The front door is not the way to go. You got to always think about the way to be successful and go a way that no one else is going.
Oh, I got you. Okay, I got what you're saying. Okay. You kind of lost me for a second. Yeah,
you got to figure out a way. Think about, like, me being into the WCW.
Right.
All the other wrestling girls were laughing at me going, Debra, they are not. You're stupid for working for free. Stupid. I said, no. I'm going to work for a few months for free, but I'm going to show them what I can do. my actions are going to show.
Absolutely.
I'm not looking for either. I want to be an entertainer. I mean, I didn't study at Lee Strasberg for 2 years and work really hard in acting to not. I'm an actor. I want to perform, and I'm athletic, and I just want to. This is. Yeah, I mean, and I've been around entertainment since I was so young, even with NFL.
Absolutely. Now, I wanted to ask you, we talked a little bit about the sexual nature of your character and things, and it seemed like in WCW they were very reserved. They were very reserved in what they would do. I remember the most skin they showed actually was a fan holding up a photo of you in the crowd. That was like the most skin we ever saw of you on WCW TV, so it was kind of surprising when they saw some of the things they would pull off with you in the WWE. Were you comfortable with maybe being more reserved in WCW, or do you think that was just the way that company was going to be? And when WWE was doing more suggestive things with you, was that something that you were open to doing, or were you kind of against it at first, but you got eased into it, or how did you feel?
Again, I have to say that was my Lee Strasberg training. You take yourself from you. Even though I have the same name, Debra, that's me doing a character, and it's no more than someone doing a soap opera or an R movie or whatever it is. It's like Debra, the Queen Debra. I'm this obnoxious beauty queen. Of course, beauty queens aren't going to show anything, so I had to rely upon my acting and had to really get under people's skin. Like throwing those roses back. I thought that, and they threw them back at me. It was so funny. I'd have to go backstage and laugh every time. Oh, my gosh. I mean, it wasn't fun getting beer poured on me and spit on and all that, but, my thing was I was pushing the buttons. That's what I needed to do. And then at WWF, Vince first brought me in as Debra McMichael, and then he dropped it, and he said, I want you everything opposite from Queen Debra. And he, that's why you never would see me smile in photos.
Right.
Because, my beauty queen pageant, I'm smiling, like the all-American snotty girl. And then this other, at WWF, I had to be the sexy, business, serious, conniving businesswoman. So I figured out, I can't do the smile. I got to look really like I'm up to something.
You think people bought the gimmick? Do you think they thought that was really an extension of you, or do you think that they knew that wasn't who you are?
I don't know. I think, I don't know. That I don't know. No, I don't know. That's where I don't know.
Exactly.
Because it's called sports entertainment, so I don't know that.
I hate to take this to a down.
And again, you know what? That is probably, if you think about it, all these are extensions of me.
Yeah.
They're extensions of me, but exaggerated.
Exactly. That's what everybody is.
They're all me, but exaggerated.
Absolutely. Now, I wanted to ask you a question here. And it's kind of a downer question, but I wanted to ask it about it anyway. Let's talk about Miss Elizabeth.
Throw it at me.
Miss Elizabeth, who was one of I think every wrestling fan's favorite growing up and everything. And in WCW, we got to see her still, and you were there with her. And I heard rumors that you guys were pretty good friends.
Yeah, we were.
What is your thoughts and comments on Elizabeth and, unfortunately, her untimely passing?
Oh, my gosh. I traveled with her so much. She'd always travel with, when I was married to Stu McMichael, she'd always ride in the car with us and always hang out with us. And when she was married, she married a lawyer in between the WCW, when we were at WCW, and I was at the wedding and down in Miami. And I remember the last time I saw her, she was with Lex when I was over at WWF. I think I was with Steve Austin working in the gym somewhere, I think in California or something. And saw her and Lex in there, and I talked to them, and that was the last time I saw her.
Were you surprised?
I was shocked.
Did you know that she had any kind of problems like what we all have heard, or is that just all blown out of proportion?
No, I did not know that.
Wow,
no.
That is really...
I never saw that around me. I never saw that at all.
Everybody was surprised when we heard that. My friend contacted me that morning. He's like, "Did you hear about Elizabeth?" And my first thought was, "What, is she going to do WWE run or something?" Or, Yeah, it was like, oh my God, I can't believe that.
No, I was just, it was just, I was dumbfounded. I was like, of course I cried.
And unfortunately, we're going to take it down one more time, and then we'll promise we'll get back to more happier things.
Oh, no, I'm fine. I'm fine with that.
Okay, good. The night of the pay-per-view, Over the Edge, you guys were pretty much the next ones on camera after the tragic events of Owen Hart. And I distinctly remember you were pretty distraught, and almost everybody, Jeff Jarrett was pretty distraught. I mean, in your opinion, was it asking a lot of you guys to be sent out there pretty much right following, or did you think the show had to go on, or what were you guys thinking, honestly, when you cut the promo backstage and then had to go to the ring?
Good gosh. I think I was in shock. It was more, I mean, it was just like we were supposed to go next so I could, work with that Nicole Bass, and all of a sudden everyone's going, Owen just fell to his death, and I was like, what? And I was like, this does not sound good. And the next thing I know, they're like, okay, get ready for your live, 3, 2, 1, go. And I'm in character, and then all of a sudden when I could see Owen about 10 feet from me, and I had him on the stretcher, that just broke down. That was, and then for me to go out there in that ring, and I could see his blood, and the face was like that. Oh! It was just, that was, yeah. That
was probably one of your worst memories of your life, or career anyway, I guess.
That was the worst.
Okay.
That was,
I remember.
I was in shock. It just went so fast, I didn't even have time to react.
Right. I remember watching the pay-per-view live and being completely shocked. I can't imagine what it was like to actually go out there and perform and continue the show after something like that happens.
It was... Especially, I was the next one. It was
right,
and just to see the ring. Oh, it was, because you couldn't really see it from my point, but to see it from my point. It was just. I still think about it to this day. It was like, And I remember Jeff went to the hospital, and then Jeff had to come back and get all Owen's stuff. And I just remember Jeff that day at the airport. He always would wear his Michigan jogging suit. And I still remember him. Had his hat on, Michigan hat, and yeah. Plain as day, I can still see it, and it's been all these years.
Absolutely. Well, all these years later, you're getting back into wrestling a little bit. You're taking bookings. Marvin over at, you're linked up with Hebner's, which I thought was kind of strange. How did that come about? How did you end up working with somebody who's...
I've always been friends with him, and he has always been the nicest man to me, and I don't forget people. And one thing, people that know me really well, I'm a very loyal person. I'm very loyal. I'm not two-faced, because I've been in entertainment from the NFL. People like you, when you're on TV, when you're famous, when you did, everybody wants to be your friend, and then when you get knocked down, I remember with Steve McMichael, nobody wanted to be my friend because I wasn't cool anymore. We had retired from football. It goes up and down like that. I got into wrestling. Everybody loved me. And then when I married Steve Austin, everybody loved me more. And then when we got divorced and people dropped off, it comes like that. So one thing I know in life, I'm very choosy with my friends, but I keep my friends for life. And one thing I know about Dave, I don't judge people. I judge how they treat me. And he's always been good to me. When I first started over there, he made sure I was okay. He treated me with respect. Even when I would come backstage after I wasn't with WWE, he would always, I'd sit by him, and he would just make me feel so welcome. And he would, even when I worked, to make sure my family got in okay. They had tickets. Everybody got first-class treatment. I don't forget those things.
Absolutely. I got news for you. We got a couple callers waiting to come on the air. You mind taking a couple calls?
No, absolutely.
All right. Caller, you're using a Skype program, I believe. You're on the air.
Hello.
Hi. Hello. You have a question for Debra?
Hey, how you doing? It's Carlos from the Bronx, New York. How are you
guys? Hey.
Hi, Debra. How you doing?
Wait, where are you from? New York? Where are you from?
York.
What did you say?
The Bronx.
Oh, my God. I can't tell.
Did you have a question for Miss McMichael or Miss Marshall or however we're going to call her?
Sure. It's for Debra. Debra, I just found out that Taz departed the WWE like a couple of days ago or yesterday, something like that.
Uh-huh.
I was just wondering, if you would consider going back over there and maybe doing color commentating next to JR over on SmackDown.
Well, absolutely. I mean, I love wrestling now. I mean, I'm at a good spot in my life, and definitely.
That would be kind of a tough job, though, because Mick Foley actually almost went insane, or more insane, with that job, because Vince is screaming in your ear the whole time, apparently. He said Mick Foley's exact comment was he quit the WWE because he got tired of Vince screaming in his ear, "Say it, damn it, say it!"
Oh my God, that is so true. Oh my gosh, that is so true. I remember walking out, like about to walk out on stage, but I played my music and I could hear Vince like yell, and like back, you know, because it's right there. Oh my gosh, it's too funny.
Well, I'm sorry, Debra. I messed up there. I gave you some wrong advice.
Well, thanks for joining us, and I want to remind everybody, thanks for joining us, and we're going to let you off the line and open the line for somebody else if they'd like to call in. If another caller would like to come in for Debra McMichael, please do so. And while we have released that call, the number to call into is 347-237-5691. That is 347-237-5691. I wanted to actually mention something to you, and I'd be remiss not to. The reason why I keep calling you Deborah Marshall is because of a girl that I know in Long Island, New York, since we just had the New York connection. Her name is Danielle, and she is your biggest fan. And I once called you Deborah McMichael to her, and she said, "It's Deborah Marshall, not McMichael."
Oh, because that's my maiden name. Marshall is my maiden name.
Oh, okay. There we go. So
Wow.
I guess she's okay. That explains it then. Well,
That's
is this the girl that
my
Michelle's
Marshall,
helping out?
but that's my maiden name.
what was that?
Second?
Sir?
I'm sorry, is this the girl that Michelle's helping out, or?
Yes, she's in a wheelchair. She's a really sweet girl, and I mean, from what I understand, she is your largest fan. I mean, she apparently has all your posters and things on the walls, and I mean, it was a treat when you spoke to her.
I've spoken with Danielle twice, and I told her when my movie comes out in Denver, you know, it's an independent movie, so it's not like in L.A. or something, but it's an independent movie, and I'm going to definitely have her come out to the opening, to the premiere in Denver.
You got a movie coming out.
Oh, you didn't know that?
Didn't know
Yeah.
it. Well, here, that's a perfect segue. What's going on with this movie?
Okay, you guys would be impressed. My fans would be impressed. It's called Gathering of the Heroes, and I took about 7 months to film it in Colorado, and I had to dye my hair back dark brown, my original color, and I really don't wear a lot of makeup, and had to learn how to fight with a sword, a 7-pound sword.
A 7-pound sword? Is that hard to
Oh,
handle?
that sucker was heavy. That was the hardest thing. That was harder than wrestling ever.
Oh,
And
boy.
I had to, you know, get everything choreographed, because this sword, if you hit wrong, you could really hurt someone.
I would
and
assume so.
I mean, it's sort of a Lord of the Rings, so I think it would fit in good with the wrestling fans, because it's a Lord of the Rings medieval movie. You know, we fight the undead, and there's Christopher Atkins is in it, and we save this kingdom from this evil undead, and we have these special powers. It's 7 of us, and we're all different characters.
Okay.
And I'm real mean in this movie. I'm a barbarian. I am really mean.
Oh, well, I guess did you draw a little bit from your wrestling character with that, or was it just
Oh,
different?
absolutely. They couldn't believe how I've become over the top, but that's just how wrestling is, and it fits in perfectly with the barbarian. But the only thing is I'm a real tough. It's different than, I'm more of the barbarian. I am swinging this sword, and definitely. It's still in production, and probably be out, I'm thinking more the end of 2009.
The end of 2009. Now, did you have to learn how to use that sword? Did you get any kind of formal training, or?
Yes.
Really?
I take stunt classes and stuff. A lot of people are stunt people in the movie, so it fits pretty well with wrestling, because and it's independent, and it was a great group of people. And actually, Mark Grove is the director, and he worked a lot with Hulk Hogan.
Really?
Yes. And when he found out I was in Denver, he looked me up and offered me the role, and I picked it up really fast, though. I think once it's sort of similar to wrestling.
Yeah, that sounds pretty cool. And where could fans find out and keep updated on when that will be released?
Yeah, and it's independent, but I think it's going to do really well because it's typical what our wrestling fans would like, the same kind of movie.
Sounds like it. Now, where can fans find out more on that and when it will be released?
I just go to Gathering of the Heroes, and it's Mark Grove.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that sounds great.
And it'll say start production July 2008. Blah 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 blah.
So you always said you always wanted to be an entertainer, and now you've done wrestling, and now you're doing a movie and things of that nature. You're hoping to do more things like that in the future?
Well, hopefully.
Kind of.
I'll definitely. My fans need to email TNA, and even host lines. If you go to TNA events, say we want Debra, definitely. And then who knows? I could do the TNA running. You never know. I might end up on the soap opera. Never say never.
Hey, why not? That sounds great to me. Well, I can't thank you enough for stopping by. Before we let you go, can we just close out with a few word associations? Basically, this is going to be, we're going to give you kind of a psychological exam here of sorts.
Sure.
All you got to do is, if you want one-word answers, that's fine. If you have a story you really want to share with us, go for that as well.
Okay.
Let's start out with the man that you managed probably for the longest time in wrestling, Jeff Jarrett.
Wonderful.
All right. How about somebody who you're probably not going to have the nicest things to say about? How about your ex-husband, Steve Austin?
Tough.
Yeah, here you go. McMichael?
Sweet.
And how about Eric Bischoff? Because he seemed to be sweet on you at first, but after the Benoit thing, he kind of soured on you.
Well, luckily I never read anything he said, but I can only speak really good things about Eric because he gave me my start in wrestling.
All right. And I think we just have a couple more. How about Vince McMahon?
Again, I have to say nothing but good things about Vince because he gave me a great run at WWF.
All right. And I think that's about all we got for him. Guys, you want to say anything in closing to Miss Debra McMichael?
Sure, absolutely. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. This was a really fun interview. I enjoyed it.
Good. I enjoyed talking to you guys.
Well, hey, anytime you want to come back on, when the movie's ready to come out, if you want to come on and give us a plug, maybe we can even run some audio commercials and things like that for it. That'd be great. We'd love to have you back on the show.
Cool.
All right. Well, thanks so much for stopping by. You heard right here on the Newsmaker Line, Debra McMichael.